Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our family service for this morning. It's nice to have everyone here and there joining us for this service. I'd like to introduce you to our chairperson for today's service. Serving as our chairperson for today is Native Horse. You might recognize Native Horse. He's been here before, and you can tell that he's wearing his Pendleton blanket, so we know that he's native, good friend of Half Moon and Shadow, and they used to run wild in the northern Idaho woods and hills, and he's very strong and very fast. We're happy to have him here. He approached me maybe a month ago and saying, "Sensei, there's a lot in common with the way of the Nembutsu and the way of horses. We should talk to each other and share this." I said, "That'd be great. You come to our service and I'll come to your stables, and then we can learn from each other." And coming to the service, he's able to participate and learn about our families and our Sunday services. And when I go to meet him, I learn about a whole world of communication beyond words. And so I'm able to learn, and so we are able to take turns being sensei for each other and sharing in the world of horses and the way without words and the way of the Nembutsu here at the temple. He's wearing his mask and reminding us to continue to be cautious and safe and protective of ourselves and others. And as you can see, he has his onenju on, so we are ready for service. I'd like to share our service order for today. We will begin with the reading of the three treasures, and then the Rai San Mon, which is the three treasures in Japanese. Then I'll take my seat upon the altar and we'll chant the Sambujo and the Ni Rai. Nembutsu and Ekoku will complete the chanting portion of our service, and then I will return to the podium for our Dharma message. So hopefully you have set up where you are with the proper materials. You'll have the three treasures, Rai San Mon, Sambujo, Ni Rai, in front of you and prepared for service. I would think your incense is lit and burning, your candle is lit, and all these things. Your Obotsudan family altar has been all set up for the service, and with that we can begin. So please join me for the reading of the three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Rai San Mon. Ninjin ukegatashi imasure ni uku. Buppo kikigatashi imasure ni kiku. この未根性に向かってどせぞんば、さらにいずれの章に向かって過去の身をどせん。
大衆もろともに指針に参謀に消えし立て祀るべし。自ら仏に消えし立て祀る。まさに願わくば主情とともに、大道を体現して無常意を起こさん。自ら法に消えし立て祀る。まさに願わくば主情とともに、深く共造に入りて知恵海のごとくならん。自ら僧に消えし立て祀る。まさに願わくば主情とともに、大衆を通りして一切無下ならん。無常人人未明の方は、百千万号にも愛をことかたし、我今検問し従事することを得たり、願わくば如来の真実義を消し立て祀らん。ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナモ阿弥陀仏、ナマンダー、ナマンダー、ナマンダー、ナマンダー。三部上、12来。 即損在非未明安楽無量物資主義念金色心情如線のシャマタ行如造部小目量略小蓮華高雅長来弥陀尊面前年上如満月以降有如千日月少如天空くしら高雅長来弥陀尊観音頂戴観地宇宙主従名相諸言能福芸能魔ケオマン高雅長来弥陀尊無備無苦高症状習徳経血尿国小作利悪徳自在高雅長来弥陀尊実法妙門菩薩衆無量小魔女三段一生修上願力中高雅長来弥陀尊根体保険知正形前言症状名大座お膝上如線の高雅長来弥陀尊実法将来勝負し権限人図し安楽戦後尊厳上苦行高雅長来弥陀尊小無常無我と薬尿水月伝尿路一種説法無明寺高雅長来弥陀尊一尊仏説無悪名薬無尿人なく道夫主任死心表非尊高雅長来弥陀尊一尊無量法勉強無所思薬知識往生不退死菩提高雅長来弥陀尊仮説非尊功徳寺修善無変如海水小逆前言少女者エセ種上部小 Namanda, 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 Namanda. Good morning again, everyone. Welcome to our family service today. Please join me in Gassho, and we'll begin with this Wasan reading. The light shines everywhere, ceaselessly. Thus, Amida is called Buddha of uninterrupted light, because beings hear and apprehend this power of light. Their mindfulness is enduring, and they attain birth. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. This is a wasan from the Hymns of the Pure Land, and in it says, the light of Amida shines everywhere without end. When we hear this power of light, means to entrust ourselves to the wisdom and compassion of Amida. Thus we awaken. Today I have a basketball story. It's basketball season, and many of us watch the Warriors play, and they're doing pretty well from the preseason, and certainly following kind of two disappointing seasons. Past two seasons were pretty disappointing. We're accustomed to them being in the playoffs and doing very, very well. And so this year they're starting very favorably, and so a lot of us are watching their games and happy that they're doing well. And then not only that, a couple of the injured players will be back later on in the season, and one of them is Klay Thompson, who has played such a major role in their championship teams. So I think a lot of people are looking forward to how the Warriors are doing so well now, and then they have some big additions coming in the not too distant future. So Klay Thompson in particular, seems like everyone, not only on the team or in the Bay Area, but everyone in the whole league seems to appreciate and respect Klay Thompson. And so kind of a interesting character. He just seems so very down to earth and laid back. There was a recent interview, and he's talking about his younger days playing Little League baseball on his baseball team in the state of Washington. There's another NBA player that they were teammates in their youth. So who was that? Kevin Love and Klay Thompson were on the same Little League team, and they did play against each other. Kevin playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and during this reflection back to his younger days, they're showing Klay sitting in his Little League dugout and remembering when he pitched against Kevin Love and beamed him, hit him in the back with a pitch, and Klay is saying, yeah, I hit him in the back. I knew he'd be a Cavalier. And this is the kind of sense of humor that Klay has. So, everyone's just like he was, laughing beneath our underneath our voice, kind of laughing at the scene of him hitting Kevin in the back, and I knew he'd be a Cavalier. So in this interview, different interview, he was talking to Kareth Burke, who covers the Warriors in the Bay Area, and so she was asking Klay about his boat. Some of us know that he has a boat, and then he commutes to practice in San Francisco with his boat and going across the bay, and pictures of him with his dog Rocco sitting in the back seat. And so he goes back and forth from home to the practice facilities, and then he's talking about his boat, kind of a new story of Klay's adventures in the Bay Area. And so Kareth was asking him at one point, what do you like most about commuting on the boat? And Klay looked down and, shaking his head, said, it's so humbling. He just continues to shake his head. He says, you feel about this small. And I thought that was so cool for Klay. He's a star, basketball star, a millionaire, but so down to earth. So and he's talking about how humble you feel when you're out there in the bay, all these waves, and being out there on this boat. It's a fairly large boat, but it feels so small when you get into the bay, get into the ocean, pointing out, you just feel so small, and how humbling that was. So I think, to me, it felt that we are humbled when we become aware. So to me, this is the light of Amida, revealing how insignificant and at the same time giving rise to gratitude, right? And this, to me, is Namo Amida Butsu. At the same time, being made to feel insignificant and all at once being filled with gratitude, a whole life, a whole heart full of gratitude. And so these two opposites come together in the Nembutsu. So this is our lesson today. We thank Amida and we thank Klay. Let's read this Wasan again. Please join me in Gassho. The light shines everywhere ceaselessly. Thus, Amida is called Buddha of uninterrupted light, because beings hear and apprehend this power of light, their mindfulness is enduring, and they attain birth. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda. Okay, thank you for letting me share this Dharma message with you. Go warriors. I will next light the incense, and so please prepare to do so at your homes as well, to come up and offer incense here and there at your homes as we have set up to do. I'd like to thank everyone for participating in this service and for the many who helped to allow this service to be, preparing the onaijin and the flowers and the fruits, thanking the chairperson for joining us, Native Horse for being here today, thanking everyone who had assisted with the videotaping, the lighting and the editing and all the things that are involved to allow us to have this service and to join together. So we'll please close with Gassho one more time. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, 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 Namanda.